Hello, my name is Dennis. I'm inside of a year 2000 GMC Safari van, all-wheel drive. I've been camping in it for a while. It's been customized for camping. And even though it looks pretty simple inside, there's a lot going on. I thought I'd give you a grand tour.
The design approach in customized minivans runs from functionality first, using portable gear that can be used both in the van or outdoors, to highly aesthetic components being permanently built into the interior. In this Safari tour, you'll see functionality as the priority. It's having a constant eye on saving money, weight, effort, and resources. Its design focuses on spending quality time outdoors with easy portability and setup of all those daily use items. Here's how I camp for the adventures in the Adventure Van, sometimes also called my Granola Girl, Jungle Wagon, Mojo Rig, Scooby Scooter, Penalty Box, Swag Hauler, Bohemian Ferry, Grill Mobile, Nature Ranger. When it's in for repairs, I'll call it Vandicap. Otherwise, it's Camper-tastic. My Vampire, Low Gear Granny, Tag Crawler, and maybe a few other names. The way I camp can be as simple as setting out a camp kitchen and a chair for a quick stay. For a longer stay, quickly moving daily use items into a pop-up shelter, setting up a very comfortable camp with everything needed at arm's reach, and it only takes me 15 minutes or less. Talking about goals, since any van build starts in a person's mind of imagination, my goals in a functional build design were ease of use, transferring everything I needed outdoors within close reach, and avoiding having to go into the van 100 times a day, grabbing out, then putting away as I use things. Also, not having built-ins facilitates being able to change your design on the fly as you upgrade components. It's easier to keep your investment in gear up to date. Health-wise, having a great healthy airflow within that van to stay comfortable and manage condensation issues. Capability to me means living completely unplugged in rustic campsites for 2 to 3 days and being as comfortable as possible in a variety of weather conditions. Managing risks isn't one of the topics often talked about around the campfire, but it's important. Minimizing built-in components reduces the use of organic materials that condensation can damage and mold can feed on. If the vehicle permanently breaks down or is involved in a serious accident, built-in components could add substantially to that total loss cost. These days, insects carry disease, and chemical repellents can have harmful ingredients. Not having a good physical barrier to insects exposes a person to the risk of some very unwelcome situations. Also, being able to create your own shade reduces the skin's direct exposure to sunlight. And having a large, secure, lockable storage area reduces the risk of break-ins and theft of valuable items, things that you've spent hard-earned money for and want to hang on to. I'll start the tour with a walk-around. The body hasn't seen much change. It's pretty much the way it was when I bought the Safari, and still looks like a soccer mom van. I installed all-terrain rubber. There's an outside shore power plug. All the mechanicals have been invested in. The engine runs smooth with a new distributor. Much of the front end and brakes have been rebuilt. It has a new fuel pump, fluids, belts, hoses, the list goes on. So moving into the inside, the shell. Moving to the inside of the shell is the big story here. It's the quality of insulation. That's the number one story. All of the insulation used is completely hydrophobic. Both floor and ceiling use closed-cell XPS rigid foam, as well as canned expanding foam in tight places. Under a synthetic carpet surface is a construction-grade shower pan liner, making the floor underlayment impermeable to water. The walls use Thinsulate 600 for superior R value and its ability to flex around odd-shaped structures. Windows use a roll-up style panel of a heavy canvas outer covering with warm windows insulation inside. If you're unfamiliar with warm windows insulation, it involves insulating batting that is sandwiched between 2 separate layers of heat-reflecting mylar. So all in one, it's heat-retaining, heat-reflecting, and moisture-impermeable. The warm windows panels are also used to close off the front of the van, as well as the large sliding door on the side. The Safari stock interior panels were reinstalled over those insulated spaces. Using the stock panels offers a strong, durable, cleanable, inorganic wall surface that won't absorb moisture. Plus, in reusing them, they weren't thrown into a landfill, and they were already paid for in buying the vehicle, so it was a great economical choice as well. Many people who do custom vans finish their services with attractive wood options, and they do often look amazing. But not only is wood expensive, it adds substantial amount of weight. It will absorb moisture. It can be dimensionally unstable through the huge temperature ranges found in vehicles, and it can be a smorgasbord for mold that needs organic matter to feed on. Another negative of manufactured wood products is that many of them do off-gas chemical fumes. As a side note, if I had bought a cargo van that didn't have stock interior panels, I'd be looking at using inorganic wall finishing materials. These days, there are some very attractive options. Just Google plastic wall panels. One example are those made by Duma Wall. And taking a look at the activity flow, to create easily portable systems, I use toolboxes and store items in groups of things. A lightweight Camp Chef Sherpa combination chuck box table, a homemade hand wash station and sink that also doubles as a gray water storage tank, a portable solar setup, solar generators. These are things and ways I've created portability for myself. The idea for me was to use portability as a more flexible option to built-in cabinetry or drawer units in ways that reduce effort in using those everyday things every day that you use them. Next, we'll move on to storage, seating, and sleeping. The secure large storage bench is actually a metal gun cabinet made by Stack-On and topped with plywood finished with a durable rubber-based paint. It also has a space to the side that's used for storing really long items. The bench is topped with a yoga chair for comfortable seating. Many homemade sitting benches that I've seen, or even those in factory RVs, have straight backs and nothing for lumbar support. They work for occasional use, but if you spend any length of time on one, it gets pretty uncomfortable. It's difficult to create ergonomic benches in vans without wasting a lot of space, because van walls, if you look at them closely, you'll see they have a lot of curvature to them, and it just doesn't work for making comfortable benches that save space too. I found this yoga chair to be the easiest, lightest way to have a place to sit that offers a decent seat cushioning and solid back support. It also doubles as a way to extend the length of the bench to support sleeping pads for going into bed mode. Also for storage, I use a metal wire shelf unit. I like it because it promotes airflow. It's especially nice on super cold mornings because even though the heater warms the air quickly, all the items in the van take a long time to warm up. The open rack circulates the heated air to warm those items up a lot faster than if they had been stored in something like a closed drawer or a cabinet. This is especially important in warming the batteries of your power system, as well as shedding heat of the power system in hot weather. Another storage system I use is a large cooler. This cooler is tied into the van's rear auxiliary heater. I'll put anything I want to protect from freezing in here. It stores things like a small chemical toilet and my water supply, some electronics, and my toothpaste. On a below freezing day, the cooler will keep things above freezing all day long, so no more waking up to frozen toothpaste. The top of the cooler doubles as a great work surface or table that's actually large enough to be truly useful. While I haven't been able to eliminate a drawer cabinet, I used a small plastic drawer cabinet mounted in place of the front passenger seat. It keeps clothes organized as well as dry goods and that ever-present pile of miscellaneous gear. Moving into environment management, the Max Fan Deluxe is a strong fan with a few nicer features. Mostly, it allows venting during precipitation. It's pretty miserly on power use. It has a reverse flow, a temperature-controlled on function, and runs relatively quietly. I also use wind guards on the front door windows to allow them to be cracked open. When the vehicle is parked, I generally leave the roof vent and the windows partly open as often as I can to keep airflow in the vehicle to manage any condensation moisture that has accumulated overnight. I have bug screening over the side sliding door entrance too. For cold weather, I get powerful dry heat from a 5,000 BTU diesel heater. It's kept me shirt-sleeve warm in temps down to the teens outdoors, even with open roof vent and windows. It's cheap to buy, cheap to run, and for 3 years running, it's been trouble-free. To install it takes a little more experience than a lightweight do-it-yourselfer might be comfortable with, but someone with moderate skills will do just fine. Outdoors, the pop-up shelter I have has optional side panels, and these are great for creating a windbreak or creating shade. It can take a pretty good downpour, and it helps to keep a patch of land drier during those really heavy dew mornings. A downside is needing to pack it up wet sometimes, and then needing to set it up again later on to dry out. I also carry my own mini fire pit. It's a solo stove campfire, and I've retrofitted it to be able to use wood pellets. So just 1 cup of pellets usually supplies me with a campfire for about 40 minutes. 2 cups will double that. I haven't bought or chopped firewood since using this. It's plenty of campfire for 1 or 2 people, and it repurposes wood that would otherwise not be repurposed. That about wraps up the tour. Thanks for watching. I hope you've taken away at least one good thing from having explored my setup. Let's take a spin around rural Wisconsin. If I could take 10 years of age off of this ride, I would. But then if I could do that, I'd take 10 years off of my age too. So that's how I roll in a 2000 GMC Safari. The all-wheel drive really makes a significant difference in snow and mud. I wouldn't be interested in a rear-wheel drive van. In my humble opinion, the all-wheel drive is well worth the extra cost, and even though I don't need it most of the time, I feel naked driving into some situations without it. While this rig isn't a looker, it does run great, it does all it needs to do, and it earns itself a lot of good, funny names. I'll close by wishing you happy camping.